Most people rely on willpower when it comes to fat loss. But the truth is that it's not a motivation problem, it's a systems problem. And the systems that most people follow almost always guarantee burnout. So if I woke up 20 pounds heavier tomorrow, this is exactly what I do. This is my no BS 8-part system designed for people who have life outside of fitness. Here's the thing. Most weight loss advice seems like it was written for people who have unlimited time and resources to attack the problem and zero real-world responsibilities outside of the gym. But you're not that person. You've got a job, maybe kids, travel, stress, and a life that doesn't revolve around meal prep and 2-hour gym sessions. So in this video, I'm going to give you the exact blueprint that we use with our clients at Ultralife, with busy adults who want real results without turning their world upside down. No BS, no extremes, just 8 repeatable steps that will fit into your life. This is the exact same system that we use with our Ultralife clients, and it's worked for hundreds of people over the last 15 years to help them get ready for their weddings, their big events, or just for life. And this is the same system that I personally used myself at the beginning of this year to lose 10 pounds in 5 weeks. All right, so let's start with the foundation. These first 3 steps are critical because they're going to drive about 80% of your results. Step 1 is calories, and I'm going to make this stupidly simple for you. Take your goal body weight and multiply it by 12. The number that you get is your daily calorie target. If you want to move a little bit faster, multiply your weight by 11. So if you weigh 180 pounds, you're eating 2,160 calories per day. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking this sounds either too high or too low, but here's what I've learned with working with people over the last 15 years. Most people are terrible at estimating their calories. They either drastically undereat and crash, which is what I've been guilty of many times, or they think they're in a deficit, but they're actually at their maintenance calories. And that's why we recommend you track everything you eat with a scale for the first couple weeks, just so you have an idea of what it feels like to eat this amount of calories. And this formula gives us a number that actually works. We're going to use this as the starting point, and if we need to, we can adjust from there. If you want to make this even easier and get a little bit more information, you can check out the link in our description below. On the Ultralife website, I've actually created a calculator that will give you all of your numbers, and it's totally free, no strings attached, no email required. Just plug your numbers in and go. Step number 2 is protein. For protein, we're looking for 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight every single day. So that same 180-pound person is going to need about 150 grams of protein per day. Now, if that sounds like a big number to you and it sounds like it would be impossible, my challenge for you is to start your day off with some protein. So instead of reaching the end of the day and you still have 125 grams of protein left, that's a lot to eat at any given moment. If we have our protein relatively early in the day, that's not only going to help you reach your goal, but it's also going to help you feel more satiated and more satisfied as you go throughout your day. But why does this protein matter so much? 3 reasons. The first reason is that it's going to keep you feeling fuller for longer than carbs or fats would. Secondly, it's going to help preserve your muscle as you're losing weight. When you are in a calorie deficit, the body doesn't necessarily care whether that weight loss is coming from fats or from your muscles. So if you're eating protein, it's going to help you preserve muscle and make sure that you're losing fat as opposed to muscle as you lose weight. And a third final reason is that it's going to help you reduce your cravings for junk food. I notice for myself and also with my clients is that when we are getting enough protein on a daily basis, we stop obsessing over having those cookies, chips, and other snacks. Step 3 is daily movement. Daily movement critical when it comes to your weight loss journey, but I'm not necessarily talking about cardio or becoming a marathon runner or doing these big endurance feats. All you need is 8 to 10,000. That's it. Like I mentioned earlier, we're trying to make this as simple as possible so we can make it sustainable and allow you to stick with it for the long haul. Because when it comes to weight loss programs, consistency is the #1 factor when it comes to predicting success. If that 8 to 10,000 steps per day sounds like a big number to you, we're going to break it down just like we did with the protein. Take short breaks throughout the day. Even 2 minutes at a time is going to help a lot and will accumulate over the course of your day. Get your steps early, just like we talked about with the protein. So that way you're not scrambling and walking around your bedroom at 10 p.m. Walk after your meals whenever possible. Not only is that going to help you get more steps, but it also helps stabilize your blood sugar. So added bonus there. Take phone calls while walking. And if you work from home, maybe you can even add one of those walking pads to get extra steps while you work. The goal here is to find a way to move your body in a sustainable way that doesn't require superhuman motivation. So like I mentioned, those are the first 3 steps. Those are the ones that are going to drive the progress most. If you can only focus on 3 out of the 8, focus on those 3 and you will still get results. Step number 4 is where we start to get into a little bit more nuance. This is strength training. We recommend strength training at least 3 days per week. You're doing full body workouts with 6 to 8 movements, 2 to 3 sets each. That's about 45 minutes max, including warm-up. Pick a squat variation, a push, a pull, and then a hinge movement like deadlifts. Add in some core work and maybe some single leg stuff, and you're done. But here's the critical component to this, something that actually matters more so than the exercises themselves, and that's progressive overload. Each week and over time, your goal is to increase the amount of weight or reps that you're doing with any given exercise. I always say that there's 3 ways to improve on the work that you're doing. It could be added weight, it could be added reps, or it could just be feeling more comfortable and slowing down the exercises. All of those are showing progression in your strength. So every single week, you're trying to do more weight or more reps than you did the week before. This is where I see a lot of people messing up, and this is where our coaching comes into play, because we can gently nudge people to start using a little bit heavier weights, or we can prescribe more reps. But a lot of people just go to the gym and go through the motions. They use the weights that they're comfortable with because they're comfortable with them. But the problem with that is that the body adapts quickly. People use the same weights week after week, and they're wondering why nothing changes. Your body actually likes to stay the way it is. If you're not challenging your body progressively, there's no reason for it to change. But I thought this video was about fat loss. Why does strength training matter for fat loss? And there's 2 reasons for that. Like we mentioned earlier, when you lose weight, your body doesn't necessarily care if it's losing weight from muscle or from fat. By doing strength training, we're able to continually tell the body that we need to preserve this muscle. And the second reason is that muscle is metabolically expensive, meaning that when you have more muscle on your body's gonna naturally burn more calories throughout the day. But when you combine a calorie deficit with strength training, you're able to lose fat while either keeping or maybe even gaining muscle. And the key is to keep it simple and consistent. 3 days a week, workout, progressive overload. That's the formula that works when it comes to strength training. Step number 5 is sleep. I'm not going to tell you that you need 8 hours of sleep every single night, because that's not realistic for most of us. But what does matter is your sleep quality. I care more about quality than duration. Create a wind down routine, just like a lot of people have morning routines. Create a wind down routine that starts roughly 30 to 60 minutes before you're trying to go to sleep. Dim the lights in your house, put your phone in another room or at least face down. And I know this sounds basic, but the blue light from your screen really messes with your melatonin production, which will mess with your sleep. And if you don't believe me, give it a try. 30 to 60 minutes before you go to bed, you could read a book, read a magazine, read something that's not going to give you that blue light, and I bet you'll get to sleep faster. Here's why sleep matters for fat loss. It directly affects your hunger hormones. If you're sleep deprived, your body produces more ghrelin, which makes you hungry, and less leptin, which tells you when you're full. You'll crave higher calorie foods, and you'll struggle with portion control no matter how disciplined you normally feel like you are. Plus, poor sleep is going to negatively affect your recovery from your workouts. When you strength train, you break down the muscles, and when you sleep, your body repairs those muscles and comes back stronger than before. So if you're not sleeping, you're missing that critical piece of the puzzle. Step number 6 is supplements. Over the years, I've kept supplements very simple. I take a multivitamin to ensure that I'm covering all of my nutritional bases. I take a protein powder to help me hit my protein goals a little bit easier, and I take 5 grams of creatine per day. The creatine helps with muscle retention as you're in this calorie deficit, and it can help your training performance. And if you're taking it every day, you don't need to worry about timing, loading phase, or any type of cycling off. Step number 7 is weekly tracking. And this is a big one that I see people either going all in on and getting too complicated with it, or they skip it altogether, and both sides of that equation are wrong. I like 3 measurements. The first is a weight measurement. The more often you can weigh yourself, the better. I like to weigh myself daily, and then I can see the trends over time. And that's because weight is going to be highly variable from day to day based off of what you ate the day before, how much sodium you had, how much water retention you've got, and how much stress you're under. But over the course of 7 days, you'll see the trends over time. And you'll see how one day, if the scale is up a little bit, it's not the end of the world. The 7-day average smooths out the fluctuations in your weight and shows you the real trend. Secondly, I like to have some body measurements because the scale is not the only number to count on. You could be losing fat while you're gaining muscle and you wouldn't see any changes on the scale. But where you do see the changes is in your waistline. Maybe your pants are fitting a little bit better. And the third thing I like to track is my workouts. I create a weekly checklist where I like to hit at least 1 yoga class per week. I have 3 strength training workouts. I'm not tracking performance on this tracker. All I want to see is that I check the box, I hit my strength training, I hit my yoga, and how many days did I hit my step goal. With this checkbox system, it allows me to keep things really simple and to track my consistency over time. And this is where we get to a really critical piece of the puzzle. The calculations that we created earlier are just that. They're just calculations, they're estimates. If you're not making progress after 2 weeks of consistent execution, here's the adjustment protocol. Either reduce calorie intake by 100 to 150 calories per day, or add 2,000 steps onto your step count goal every day. But don't do both at once. Make one variable change at a time, stick with it for 2 weeks, and then you can reassess. Step number 8 is to plan out your environment. Set up yourself for success. This is something that is massively underrated. Your environment determines your consistency more than your willpower ever will. If you set up your space for success before you need willpower to kick in, you'll keep your healthy defaults visible. I always have protein snacks ready to go in the fridge, and I keep them in the front where I can see them. I have a water bottle that stays on my desk to ensure that I'm getting enough hydration throughout the day, and it worked in reverse as well. So I know that if I have crackers or pretzels or cookies, I'm probably gonna eat those throughout the course of the day, especially because I work from home and I can easily just pop on over to the pantry. That's not to say that I don't eat those things. I often will have a cookie. I often will have some pretzels as a snack, as something to hold me over, especially if that fits within my calorie intake for the day. But by not keeping them in the house, it makes it easier to not mindlessly snack. These small environmental tweaks can help create automatic wins in time. Lay out your gym clothes the night before, prep your protein breakfast so that way it's ready to go in the morning, and keep walking shoes in the car in case you ever decide that you want to go for a walk. The key here is that your environment helps you make the healthy choice the easy choice, especially in those moments when your motivation or willpower is low. So those are the 8 steps that I personally have used and we use with all of our clients when it comes to a weight loss program. If you're interested in having a chat and talking through your process, I am always here to help lend a helping hand, and we offer free consultations for potential clients. And if you don't necessarily need a customized plan, you can check out our Always Ready online program, which provides you with 3 strength training programs per week, all full body, just like we talked about in this video. And it also gives you some cardio workouts as well, which will also help enhance your fat loss. And that brings us to the optional step number 9. Step 9 is knowing when the issue is not your effort. If you've been executing this plan perfectly for 4 to 6 weeks, you've made adjustments and things are still just not working, that's when it's time to go ahead and get some blood work done. In the rare cases where this plan is unsuccessful, I send our clients to healthcare professionals who can then check their hormones, thyroid function, and metabolic markers. Sometimes the issue is not what you're doing, it's something that's happening under the hood that you can't control. But this isn't an excuse to skip the basics. Once our clients figure out if they've got any underlying issues in their blood work, they get that sorted. They still need to hit steps 1 through 8. But if you're doing everything right and nothing seems to be working, then maybe there's a medical piece that needs to be addressed. So if you want more support with this process, check out our Always Ready program. The link is in the description below. Check out our Ultra Life custom coaching, and we'll walk you through every single step with personalized guidance. But remember, you don't need anything fancy to make this work. Take these 8 steps. Execute them consistently over the course of the next 12 weeks, and I promise you, you will be amazed at what happens next.